Erev Tov to everybody. Good evening. I want to talk a little bit about Tehillim Perek Mem Chet 48, which should be fairly familiar because it's the Tehillim that we say on every Yom Sheni, for every Monday. And the text goes as follows. I'm just going to do the beginning now. And I think at the end, we'll read the entire Tehillim. Shir Mizmor Livnei Korach. It's one of the Mizmorim that we understand were composed by the family of Korach that descended from Korach. Gadol Hashem Umhulal Ma'od Be'ir Elokeinu Har Kadsho. When we say it at the end, and I say the whole Tehillim, I'll use the Shem Hashem. So we're talking about the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and how much he's praised when he is in the city, or when we all are in the city, his holy city, in his house in Yerushalayim, of course. And there's a beautiful description of Yerushalayim. Yifei nof misos kol haaretz har Tzion, Yarkatei Tzafon, Kiryat Melech Rav. Beautiful. It's a beautiful city with beautiful scenery. And it is the joy, the celebration of the entire land, Har Tzion, that place on Har Tzion, that marked place, the depths of Tzafon, which Chazal say understand like Tzafun, the hidden place. What is the depths? The innermost part of the Beit HaMikdash is, of course, Kodesh Kodashim, and that is what we're talking about, the innermost part, Kodesh Kodashim, in the very, very top Har Tzion. Kiryat Melech Rav, it's the place of dwelling of a great king. Elokim ba'armanoteha noda lemiskav. And God, in those palaces, you are known for your greatness. And then it changes. We describe Har Tzion, and then we talk about something totally different. A war. It would seem that there's a war. Ki hinei hamalachim no'adu, because behold, kings have gotten together by appointment. They've arranged to get together. Avru yachdav, they have come together and are coming through the country together. Hema ra'ug hein tamahu nivhalu nechpazu. And Am Yisrael saw, and they were frightened, they were shocked. Nivhalu, they were frightened. Nechpazu, they were terrified. Ra'ada achazatam sham, chil kayoleda, a shaking took hold of them. Birth pangs, just like somebody giving birth. They were trembling so hard. Beruach kadim tishaber aniyot Tarshish. They were acting like they were being blown by an eastern wind. They were being blown all around in their fear, as though a wind was coming and breaking ships. That's part two. We have part one, the beautiful description of Yerushalayim. And it is a beautiful description of Yerushalayim in the days of the Geula, say Chazal. And the second part talks about a great war that came upon this beautiful city that preceded the Geula. And then part three is thanking Hashem because he told us that he was going to save us at the end of days. He promised us, Kasher Shamanu Kem Ra'inu. What we heard from the words of the Nevi'im through the entire history of our people, it happened, and we thank you, Hashem. And in the last paragraph, Sobu Tzion V'Hakifuha, we have to prepare to celebrate and remember this great Yeshua of Hashem, which will go down in history. We will surround Sion. We will celebrate the victory. And we will remember Hashem's Yeshua through all generations. This is the Mizmor that we say on Yom Sheni. And the question is, what does the Mizmor have to do with Yom Sheni? We are talking about Yeshua. That happens after the wars. We assume we're talking about the wars of Gog and Magog. Why do we say this particular Mizmor on Yom Sheni? And I want to read you what our rabbis teach in the Gemara Tamid. Gemara Tamid. B'Sheni, ma hayu omrim? On the second day of the week, what were they saying? Gadol Hashem Hulal Ma'od, our Tehillim, Perek Memchet. Al Shechilek Ma'asav Umalach Alehem. Because on the second day of creation, he chilek, divided that which he had created and ruled over them. And Rashi says, Shechilek Ma'asav, he separated, divided what he had done. Hivdil Rakia ben Elyonim v'tachtonim. He separated the Rakia, put a separation between the upper levels and the lower. V'nit aleh v'yashav b'marom. And he raised himself and dwelt on the upper levels. If we look in the Torah, in Bereshit Perek Aleph, we learn about Yom Sheni of creation. Vayomer Elokim Yehi Rakia b'toch hamayim. Let there be a rakia, a separation. English translations say firmament. I don't know what a firmament is. So it's easier to say separation, a rakia, b'toch hamayim, v'hi mavdil bein mayim l'mayim. And it will separate between the upper waters and the lower. Vayas Elokim et harakia, and Hashem made the rakia. Vayavdel bein hamayim asher mitachat l'rakia. And he separated between the waters that were under the rakia, uvein hamayim asher me'al l'rakia, and the waters that were above this rakia. Vayehi chen, and it was so. Vayikra Elokim l'rakia shamayim, and Elokim called the rakia shamayim. Vahi erev, vahi boker, yom sheni. And it was evening, and it was morning, and it was the second day of creation. So it would seem that Yom Sheni is the beginning of divisions. It's the first division. Even though Yom Rishon says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu separated between light and darkness, it would seem that Chazal felt that this was a real separation. But what in this Mizmor is related to our entire history, which is filled with division? Essentially, my friends, we are a divided people. We have not divided ourselves along the same lines from time to time, but always had divisions, whether they were disagreements, whether they were resentments, whether they were jealousies, which led to milchamot, unfortunately, which will only end at the time of Geula. And this Mizmor, Memchet, that we recite every Monday, this Mizmor is describing the final battle being the wars of Gog and Magog, that will put an end to divisions, and we will see a time of peace. We will celebrate and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The interesting thing is that our great rabbis teach us something else interesting. They tell us that this particular Mizmor, Memchet, is actually the Mizmor that is associated with Parshat Vayigash. I'm sure you were wondering why I was suddenly talking about Mizmor Memchet. I'm talking about it because Chazal say this is Mizmor is associated with Parshat Vayigash and should be recited in the week in which we read this parsha. Why use for Vayigash? Well, Vayigash, an opening scene, is really the beginning of divisions in Am Yisrael. I should not have said the beginning because it began actually before this. It began when we had divisions within us. You see, Avraham Avinu had 2 children. One became part of Am Yisrael, one left. So that division is not part of Am Yisrael. Yishmael is not part of Am Yisrael. Yitzchak had 2 children, and one of them became part of our tradition, Yaakov Avinu, and the other one left, Esav left. But with Yaakov, we read with Yaakov, and all of the sons of Yaakov were Shtei Esrei. Yaakov, we read that in Parshat Vayishlach. The sons of Yaakov, all 12, no matter what they did, no matter what was in the history, no matter what things happened with Reuven and the things that happened with Shimon and Levi, they all remained and make up the essential Am Yisrael. We are made up of those 12 Shvatim that descended from his sons. And what we see in Parshat Vayigash is that suddenly we have a sharp division. We have Vayigash Yehuda Elav, and Yehuda approached him. Approached whom? Yosef. And we have 2 leadership roles, distinct leadership roles, clearly defined and spelled out within Am Yisrael, the leadership under Yosef and the leadership under Yehuda. Dual leadership can sometimes be very good. It was very good in Mitzrayim because Yosef provided for the economics needs of the people, and Yehuda was in charge of, remember Yaakov sent him first to set up Batei Midrash. Yehuda provided for the spiritual needs. But unfortunately, dual leadership can also lead to arguments because of differences of opinion, jealousy, enmity, even war. In fact, the Medrash Rabbah on the beginning of Parshat Vayigash, when it speaks about Vayigash Yehuda Elav, brings this Tehillim. The Medrash Rabbah, I think that it's Seif Bereshit, Seif Tzadik Gimel, tells us, taking the words from this Tehillim, Ki hinei hamlachim noadu, because behold, see, look, the kings have come together. Hema ra'u kain tamahu, nivhalu, nechpazu. The 2 kings came together. The Medrash says, we are talking here about Yehuda and Yosef. And who is it that's standing by and watching and trembling in fear? All of the other brothers, including Binyamin, who has just been accused of taking the Gaviyah, the chalice, the divining cup of the person that they believe is the second in command, the viceroy in Mitzrayim. And the Medrash says the brothers are frightened. The two kings are having an argument. They are fighting, and that fight is going to go on through history. And the brothers say, it's good. Let the two kings fight. It has nothing to do with us. We are totally accepting the leadership of Yehuda on the one hand and Yosef on the other hand. Ya'i, it is nice. Ya'i, like Ya'eh, kilo Ya'eh, it is proper and nice. It is proper and nice for kings to fight each other, the brothers say. And please do not include us in the battle. Yes, we see the divisions in our people. We have seen them throughout history, and we see them as well today. When will it end? I need to call your attention to the incredible Haftorah that we will read Be'ezrat Hashem on Shabbat, taken from Yechezkel, Perek Lamed Zayin. And I can't resist reading it. Vayhi dvar Hashem elai lemor, says Yechezkel, the word of Hashem came to me saying, Va'ata ben Adam, and you, human, kach lecha eitz echad, take a piece of wood, uktav alav liYehuda v'livnei Yisrael chaveirav, and write on the piece of wood, this piece of wood is standing for Yehuda and all of Bnei Yisrael who are his friends, who are his subjects. Ulekach eitz echad, and take another piece of wood, uktov alav liYosef, eitz Ephraim. This piece of wood symbolizes Yosef via Ephraim. B'chol Beit Yisrael chaveirav, and all the household of Yisrael that follow him. When our kingdom was split after the death of Shlomo, the southern kingdom was Yehuda and chaveirav, and the northern kingdom was Ephraim and chaveirav. Ephraim, the son of Yosef. And Hashem says to Yechezkel, take these two pieces of wood, v'karev otam echad el echad, lecha, le'etz echad, excuse me, karev otam echad el echad lecha le'etz echad, v'hayu la'achadim biyadecha. Take these two pieces of wood that you have just written on this one, LiYehuda, and on this one, LiYosef, bring them close to close, very close, in your hand. It's very important. And they are going to miraculously become one piece of wood. V'kasher yomru elecha b'nei amcha lemor, and Yechezkel is told to do this publicly. He's to do this publicly with the people watching him. And when they will say to him, Halo tagid lanu ma elalach, will you please tell us, what are you doing? Yechezkel, daber alehem ko amar Hashem Elokim, hine ani lokeach et eitz Yosef asher biyad Ephraim, v'shiftei Yisrael chaveirav, v'natati otam alav et eitz Yehuda, v'asitim le'etz echad, v'hayu echad biyadi. And you will say to them, I am showing you what Hashem is promising and what he is telling me to say to you. Take these two pieces of wood, bring them together, because I am going to take the followers of Yehuda and the followers of Yosef Ephraim, and I'm going to put them together, and they are going to become one nation. And he goes on and says, V'daber aleim, say to them, Ko amar Hashem Elokim, so says Hashem, Hinei ani lokeach et bnei Yisrael mi bein hagoyim. Hashem says, step one, I'm taking bnei Yisrael from amidst the nation, asher holchu sham, where they have wandered, v'kibatzti otam misaviv, v'heveti otam al admatam. I am going to gather them and bring them to the land. V'asiti otam lagoy echad ba'aretz, b'harei Yisrael. I am going to make them one nation in the land, in the mountains of Yisrael. Umelech echad yihiyeh lekulam. There will be one king over all of them, lemelech. V'lo yihiyu od lishnei goyim, v'lo yechatzu od lishtei mamlachot od. They will no longer be like two nations and will not be divided, will not be separated again into two mamlachot. The Navi is really teaching us a lot here, as every Navi does. He is promising that we will become a united nation. It will happen. Hashem will bring it about, but not alone. Notice, he told the Navi to take something physical, pieces of wood, to show that, you know what we need? We need a leader. We need a leader who is willing to work very hard and speak to us and teach us. And the nation in turn needs to follow that leader, to listen to him, to obey his words. We need a leader of the stature of a Navi. We need to feel close to him, to feel free to ask questions and to listen to his answers. What a lesson for us to learn in our present day. It is so important for us to listen, to hear the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu coming from our teachers, so that we can hope that from the midst of the battle that we are in the middle of, that we will see a Yeshua, we will see a true Yeshua emerge, that the nation will emerge united and strong. Shir Mizmor Livnei Korach. Gadol Adonai U'Lo Ma'od Be'ir Eloheinu Har Kadsho. And just, I see that I'm going past my time. I'm going to do a little bit more. Yefenof Misos Kol Haaretz Har Tzion. Yarketei Tzafon Kiryat Melech Rav. Elohim Ba'armenotecha Noda Lemezgav. Ki hinei hamalachim no'adu. They certainly have gathered now, all our leaders. Avru yachdav. Hema ra'u kein tamahu. Nivhalu nechpazu. Ra'ada achazatam sham. Chil hayoleda. Baruch kadim tishaber aniyot tarshish. Kasher shamanu kein ra'inu. Be'ir Adonai tzvakot, tzvaot, be'ir Eloheinu, Elohim yichonenecha ad olam sela. Ziminu Elohim chastecha, bekerev hechalecha, kishimcha Elohim kein tihilascha, al katzvei aretz, tzedek mala yeminecha. Yismachu har Tzion tagelna benot Yehuda, lema'an mishpatecha, Sobu Tzion v'hakifuha, Sipru migdaleha, Shitu libchem l'chela, Pasku armenoteha, Leman tisapru l'dor acharon, Ki Elohim Eloheinu olam va'ed, Hu yinahagenu al mus, which Chazal say he will lead us forever, as though it says olam mut. Just wanted to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and may we really have a Yeshua and be able to surround Zion and celebrate the wonderful promises that Tehillim gives us from the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you very much for listening. Refuah Shlema to all who need it, and Besorot Tovot, which we all need. Thank you very much, Hannah.